Hi, I'm Kenda, a real estate specialist in Los Cabos, Mexico. There's a lot going on in the real estate market in Cabo. People ask me all the time if the market is seeing a dramatic slowdown like we're seeing in the United States. Is it smart to buy right now? Should I wait to sell? Well, I'm going to address both buyers and sellers in just a little bit. But first, I would like to share some insights with you. I'm going to discuss some key data points that I follow very closely that help me understand the direction that the market is taking. So if you don't like statistics, you may find this to be very boring. But I find that statistics cut right through the emotion and the hype, and they answer a lot of my questions. In the United States, where I'm from, there's a lot of talk about a slowing real estate market, especially in the media. Recent rate hikes by the Fed have caused mortgage and interest rates to climb and the stock market to decline. These events have caused a ripple effect of fear that has basically pulled the emergency brake on the robust real estate market that we saw earlier this year. But what about Cabo? Are we seeing the same things? After all, many buyers of property in Los Cabos and surrounding areas are from the United States and Canada. And one may think that our markets are very similar. In some ways, the Los Cabos market is influenced by the United States and Canadian markets, but in other ways, it's quite different. It's important to note that in Cabo, traditionally, we have a cash market, meaning that the majority of home buyers pay cash for their homes. Mortgages, while slowly gaining popularity here, are historically very rare in Cabo. So because most buyers pay cash for their homes, interest rate hikes don't really affect the Cabo buyer as much as they do the buyers north of our border. I think the best snapshot into what is happening in Cabo is to look back over 2022 Los Cabos and surrounding area real estate. We saw some mind-blowing things happening from around March to May, reflecting what the buyers and sellers in the United States and Canada were also seeing. We had a dramatic drop in days on the market, what we call DOM, meaning that properties were selling much faster. For example, in January, the average DOM was around 300 days, and by mid-March, it was down to 180 days. That's approximately a 40% decrease, and 40% is significant. And certainly in highly desirable neighborhoods, many properties saw multiple offers in 1 or 2 days. The absorption rate also took a dive around that same time. The absorption rate shows how long current inventory of properties would last at the current rate of sales. In other words, if no new properties were added to the market and sales continued at a steady pace, the absorption rate indicates the number of months required to sell all of the properties on the market. So in October of last year, it would have taken nearly 8 months to sell all of the inventory. In January, it was at 6 months, and it dropped to its lowest point at almost 5 months in April. Now, this reflects a considerable drop in available inventory. It means that things are selling at a much faster rate. I remember when there were a few months that only 1 or 2 homes would become available, especially in certain high demand areas. And it was so frustrating to have buyers eager for a home and no home to sell them. The shortage of inventory pushed the prices up and the days on the market down. Another really fascinating statistic is that in November of last year, sellers in Los Cabos were getting, on average, 93% of their asking price. Just last month, that figure was up to 98%, which is a huge jump and marks a high for 2022. In San Jose del Cabo, where I live, we saw a sold to list ratio go up to 103% of the asking price. So this means that a lot of properties were getting offers over asking price. If you were selling your $1 million home, for example, last November, you could expect to get around $930,000. If you sold it right now, you would expect to get closer to $980,000. That's a big difference. Great, so we had a volatile year and it's a strong seller's market, but what's happening now? Has there been a huge crash or even a significant slowdown in the real estate market in Los Cabos? Well, let's go back to the statistics. But first, it's vital to understand that Los Cabos is a huge expat and tourist town. We have nearly perfect weather all year round, but there are a couple of months that are kind of down months here, specifically from mid-August to mid-October. Many people leave, including myself, during this time. Restaurants close and everything's boarded up for hurricane season. So historically, the market is extremely slow during this down season window. So let's compare apples to apples by looking exactly 1 year back and comparing those low season numbers with today's low season numbers. First, let's look at active listings. In October, there were 511 active listings, yet this year, 500. Not a huge difference, but less inventory for sure. What I find more interesting is that the number of new listings for October last year was 104. And last month, it was only 78, meaning that market inventory is slower to come to market. Remember the 8% absorption rate in October 2021 last year? It's still 6.75 right now. The sold to list ratio was 95.5 and now it's 98. So properties are selling at nearly 3% higher sales price than they were this time last year. I also like to see how quickly things are selling. So DOM last year was 310 and now it's 177. So properties are still selling more quickly than they were last year. All, and I mean all, of these statistics show us that we have a strong seller's market, more so than this year last time. Some say a big drop is coming because what's happened in the United States and Canada. While it's true that we sometimes lag behind the United States and Canada in the real estate market trends by about 4 to 6 months, the statistics still show that our market in Los Cabos is strong. We have a seller's market here, and right now buyers can expect to pay close to the asking price in most cases. But the value of property in Los Cabos is still a really safe bet in my opinion. I see no significant signs of a dramatic slowdown on the horizon, and that's great to know. Buyers, if you want to buy in Cabo, you need to move quickly because property here gains value every single day. And the longer you delay, the more you miss out on. I often hear this phrase, the best time to buy a property in Cabo was 30 years ago. The second best time was yesterday. This old adage always makes me smile because it really does remain true. Sellers, if you have property to sell, now is a great time to sell. It has been many years since we've had a seller's market in Cabo, so now is the time. While inventory still remains low, contractors are moving quickly to build new developments to meet that need. New construction in Cabo takes between 18 and 36 months, so there will come a time when the inventory will catch up with the demand and probably even overtake it. You should sell before then, because when that happens, we will probably be looking at a buyer's market once again. If you have any specific questions about the real estate market in Los Cabos, please leave me a note and I will definitely answer your question. If this video has been helpful to you anyway, please subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll be notified when I make future updates about the real estate market in Los Cabos. I tend to do that once a month or so. Thanks so much for watching.